All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in studio at the table, joined on the other side of the table by Randy Angston. What's up, buddy?
How we doing?
winninggym.com/grow. That's where you're going to find more information about our coaching program, the Business Accelerator. It's one of the best things that you can do for your business to systematize your operation and give you the ability to remove yourself from the operation if you would like to. If you don't want to, stay in the business, but at least it runs for you. I look around me all the time, and I look at these, gym business coaches, and I look at, what they do and like how they got to where they are. And, it's funny. A lot of these folks either don't own gyms anymore, but if they do, they're very involved in the gyms. Like the one thing I would tell you is that I'm at a point where I'm not needed anymore.
Yes.
I come in to do the podcast. I come in, I meet with Zach, but I don't train anybody.
Mm-mm.
I don't make sales calls. I don't do sales consultations. I don't do ordering of materials. I don't pick up supplies. I don't clean anything. It's just like a business, right? And so that seems to be the goal of many.
Correct.
And that's what we do here. Like we've got it to a point, and there's no way that we could have gotten there if we didn't have the systems and the processes that we built into the coaching program. So if that's of interest of you, if that's something that you're like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing if I could just work on the business 4 hours a week or not even have to be there or take a vacation with my kids or whatever, winninggym.com/grow will help you get there.
Yeah. Not to, stretch it, but every other system, every other coaching group or whatnot that I've seen out there focuses on marketing or sales. That's it. And while we touch on both of those, we speak to both of those. Those are one small aspect of the business. That's all like outward facing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's not actually within the four walls. I guess the sales process is, but like once they're in the four walls, those systems are what we've realized is a big differentiator from allowing a gym to scale and grow and make additional money without putting that work back on the owner, without just focusing on new business. Right. And so, yeah, guys, it might not sound sexy. It might not sound fun, like, a new marketing program that's going to bring in 100 leads next month. Well, we could do that for you too. But what's the point of doing all of that if 80 of them are leaving in the next year?
Yeah.
So let's firm up the business inside your four walls. Let's put you in a position to, back to our last episode, like where you flip a switch and you can have an influx of new clients coming in the business, but your business can sustain. You can retain those clients. You're getting results for the long term. We're increasing the revenue that each of them are willing to pay. I mean, like there's so much that's happening inside the gym that's not just, here's a new shiny marketing campaign.
I get hit up by those ads all the time. 100 new leads or 100 clients, or else I'll pay you
guaranteed.
And forget it. I just kind of laugh at that stuff. But anyways, guys, if that's of interest, if you want to jump on a call, winninggym.com/grow. All right, check that out. All right, so funny story. Back in 2015, 2016, when we were doing heavy marketing for a lot of gyms, we caught fire out in Australia pretty hard. We were doing stuff out there in New Zealand, and one of the things that when we were getting on these calls was like these gyms were all billing on weekly frequency, where over in the US we're all on monthly, and so I didn't really care about the weekly. I didn't understand why they were doing weekly, and I was just like, what is that per month? Like, let's figure out the monthly, because that's how my math works. Like, don't tell me the weekly plan. Give me the.
But it comes from the fact that traditionally things that happen here in the U.S. roll over there later. Right. Fitness, whatever trends and things like that start here in the U.S. a year, 2, 3 is when Australia and New Zealand were typically adopting those things. And so for us to be there and they be doing something that it hadn't gone through the U.S., right? Like that wasn't normal. We have always been a monthly billing cycle type mentality for the most part. And so to see almost every facility there, we're like, wait, when the hell did we teach that? Like that didn't come from the U.S. So it was very strange for us.
It was, and we couldn't figure it out. So years later, we, decided to take a harder look as to why would you do weekly instead of monthly and all this stuff. And it actually makes a ton of sense if you really focus on it. And so in this episode, I want to tell you how to really, at the end of the day, give yourself a $40,000 bonus based on the math I'm about to share with you, just by switching to weekly payments. and how to do it. Because, a lot of people are like, how do I implement this? And how do I do this in my gym? So right off the jump, weekly payments has pros and cons, and we'll talk about them both because there's hidden cons that we weren't even aware of. And now they're hitting us. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. So let's talk about the pros for a second. Typically, and again, when we go into weekly payments, we're talking about weekly training programs, right? And so like a lot of times you like have once a week training, twice a week training, 3 times a week training. Doesn't it make sense to bill weekly if your frequency is weekly? That aligns 1-to-1, right? Okay, that makes sense. Well, what about, if somebody's going to pay you $400 a month, that's pretty heavy. But if you drop it down to $99 a week, hey, it's a little bit easier to understand. It's a smaller bite-sized chunk.
Yeah, we've used the term reduce it to the ridiculous. Yeah, right. Like it's a little bit more manageable kind of idea for the prospect. And oh man, there was something I was going with that, but exactly. I mean, it's just a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, another thing, a lot of times people get paid weekly or bi-weekly, and so it kind of aligns that way. So we got 3 things that kind of make sense. The best thing about it for the business side is you're actually collecting more revenue over the year, billing weekly at smaller increments than you do monthly at longer increments
with the same deliverable. And I think that's something that a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't want to just take money from clients and not serve them. No, you guys are doing the same number of sessions at the end of the year. You're just not getting paid for them all yet.
Yeah. And a lot of times what would happen is there would be that extra 5th week in a month. And now you're kind of like, you have to kind of bill the client or you don't, and like give it to them free. You take the loss. So like, let's just say you're doing twice a week training and they're paying for 8 sessions. What happens in that 5th week of the month that happens twice a year that you're like, well, I got to bill you for that. And then you get in this argument like, well, what do you mean I'm paying for this? And well, you actually did 9. And they have to show them. It's why even go down there? We were doing that.
Yep.
We were billing people and not billing them because we felt bad. It's like, what are we doing this for? It's free. So when you break it down to weekly and you bill weekly and your frequency is weekly, everything kind of makes sense. So let's do an example for a second. Let's just in this example, you say you have 200 clients paying about $200 a month. Okay. It's $40,000 a month in revenue. It's a decent business doing $480 a year in revenue on the membership recurring revenue. Let's just say instead of charging $200 a month, you charge $50 a week. Okay. $50 a week to the end consumer is literally $200 a month in their head because they just multiply it by 4. But it's not 4. We know it's 4.33, and we're not trying to scheme them or anything. We're just trying to say, hey, we're going to train you twice a week. It's $50 a week. We're going to bill you 52 weeks a year. Pretty simple. Well, that math adds up to an additional $200 per year per member. $200 a year per member. So the math going back was $200 a month times 12 months is $2,400.
Correct.
Makes sense. $50 a week times 52 weeks is $2,600.
You're getting a full month of additional revenue at the end of the year.
Times 200 members equals $40,000 in additional revenue. Hey, not so bad. Not only that, you actually got paid for every session that you delivered on instead of having these one-off conversations where you're billing them. Oh, this month we got to catch you an extra $50 on this and that, it just makes it really simple.
It does. And right off the bat, like the thing that I love is like this is one of those situations for what we do, what we provide, where we look at the math in the business and we say, okay, well, this is the way that things are happening. What about this? Have you ever considered this? That's math on paper. It holds up. We know that the deliverable isn't changing. The gym doesn't have to go do more work. They're already training those sessions, every one of them throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And you're instantly now making $40,000 more from doing the same thing.
Right. Just setting up the billing a little differently.
Exactly. And to your points earlier, what other pros comes with that, right? The ease of the sale. Maybe it's that 40,000 is 80,000 because you've doubled the amount of people that are coming into your business just because the sale has become easier.
Sales very easy.
There's other aspects that can increase, the likelihood that 40,000 is even greater simply by making this change.
Yeah,
I know. You will have a easier time selling $50 weekly payments than you will $400 months. It just is.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be 200 in that equation.
Correct. Sorry. Yeah.
But correct. So what are the cons? We're experiencing the cons right now in this gym. In Arizona, we have an affluent, audience here in this area, and they all have second homes. They go to California, they go to Mexico, Montana, Canada, wherever they want to go, wherever the hell they want to go. And they go on freeze. Now, that's going to happen. And we know that. We're 13 years, but this is our 13th summer going through this. And we see this giant freeze because, that's just the way it is. Yeah. It's 112 degrees outside. They want to leave. I don't blame them.
And you guys have baked in a freeze option in every membership for some time because we know the clientele, because we know that is part of their lives. And so for us to serve that type of clientele, we needed the ability to have a freeze in one way or another.
They wouldn't be here.
That's my point, right? Like those clients not having the option wouldn't be
there's one sign
part of annuals. Yeah, exactly. They would move on.
So what is happening throughout the regular point of the year, not just the summer, is clients will go on vacation, they'll get sick, they have a business meeting out of town, and they will freeze their membership way more than ever before. In the past, if we were billing a monthly, it's like, oh, well, it's next month, whatever. Or I've got 30 days to make it up. Now it's very, laser focused on the week at a time. And that is a con. And we're seeing it hard and heavy. But the flip to that is we're signing up way more people because we give them the ability to freeze. So is it a con? Yeah, in the fact that you got to manage it a little bit more, but it's a big pro because people are like, oh, well, hell, I've never even heard of this. This is great. I can freeze if I'm not here. Yeah, absolutely, Mrs. Johnson, you can freeze. Where do I sign? Right?
My curiosity in hearing you say that too, and again, I don't think we have the data yet. The end of the year, maybe next year we'll see it. But I wonder if because they have the availability of freezing maybe weeks at a time, if the time that they aren't gone or away, if their attendance is greater.
We'd have to dissect that a little bit.
I'm just curious because again, we know certain metrics matter in our business. Yeah. We know that if our clients attend, they get results, they stay longer. And so maybe that is something that we haven't seen yet that could offset some of, that kind of con.
Here's what I will tell you is we've been running this weekly plan for well over a year, probably 2 years. I don't really remember. I think it's just after COVID, so maybe a year and a half. We have $19,000 on freeze right now. 45 clients are on freeze, $19,000 in revenue. The money we are making from the memberships that are here is the highest it's ever been. Ever.
Without that attributed to.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now add the 19,000 to that would be astronomical, but we are generating more revenue now than we ever have. And we have 20,000 almost on freeze. I guess you got to just say, don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things it's almost like taking a step back to take two forward, right? Like there's certain things changes that happen in business. Nothing is perfect.
Nothing's 100%
yeah,
great.
Exactly. Right. Like we've done this. It's got all of those pros. The con, sure, it's the ease, and we've seen more on freeze. But if we're still out selling, out making, and doing if all of those pros far outweigh that con, it's still a positive change. And
when September, October comes around and all these folks are back here, I don't know if we're going to be able to handle all this because there are so many people coming in the doors and that are here right now. We've never had this much attendance in a summer month, like June, July. July is the worst. So we'll see next month, but like June, July, and August, it's the doldrums in Arizona. It's like almost ghost town in some of the areas of town.
I know. I love driving right now.
And I came in here last night to pick something up and it was slam packed at 4 PM.
Love it.
Whoa, let's go. Right. And so we're pumped. We got a great team. We just give them a little bit more flexibility, and the pros are outweighing the cons on every level here. And so Mrs. Johnson's happy. Coaches are slammed. Business Tim's happy. We got great energy in here. So listen, guys, if you're not doing weekly payments, I really feel that this is something you need to take a hard look at. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But why wouldn't you? Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. And so the question's going to come up, hey, I've got all these guys on weekly or on monthly payments. How do I switch?
Oh, yeah.
How do I switch them? Well, the first thing you do is you switch all the new people coming in, no matter what. You just decide. Then if the people are up for renewals, we just switch them at that time, or you can do a global change and make the reason why. And the reason why is very simple. Currently we're doing 8 sessions a month. What was happening was we were having to bill some of you for that extra session a couple times a month. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to make it easier for you, billing wise. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to weekly payments. We train weekly. We're going to bill weekly. Everybody's happy. Sign here. There's
transparency too. Because you and I both know that there's a bunch of those businesses that are billing those clients every single time. And the client doesn't know.
They don't know.
They have no idea that they're being charged more than what they traditionally do.
I bet you what's happening even more is they're not billing the client.
Correct. And that's a big problem as well, right? That's $40K out of your pocket that you're charitably contributing to your client's growth.
Yeah.
You're giving $40,000 away right now.
Services away. Yeah.
Think about that. The opposite of it, right? Like the math of this, sure, you can go earn $40,000 now, but how about you just collect the $40,000 that you're already owed?
That's one way to look at it. The other way is this is how you do a price increase without a price increase. This is a way to do it. You just, instead of $200 a month, it's $50 a week. They understand because they were technically supposed to pay those extra weeks of those months doing those extra sessions unless you were billing them. But isn't that a pain in the ass?
Yeah.
So let's just go back here and do it weekly, retro everybody in, basically you just made 40 grand on this equation. If you have a bigger gym, this could be 80 grand. This could be 100 grand, And so, to me, it makes a lot of sense.
And it makes the ease of doing business with you greater. And that's a big part why people choose to do business with us versus competitors.
Yeah, we should make it easy. Let's just make it easy for them. Yeah. Frictionless sell. Make it easy for somebody to give you money. Be accommodating. Mrs. Johnson will come and she'll be happy that she'll train with you.
There you go.
All right, that's it for this episode, guys. Until next time, keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye. All right, and thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals, and when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.